Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is game day Sunday. We've got another football Sunday. And we've got a great one today, guys. But we got to go over what happened last week, the fourth quarter comeback. Our quarterback, Jalen Hurts, finally kicked it into gear with this offense. Finally broke the chains off him and let it loose. And we unleashed this offense, and we saw what kind of brand of football the Eagles can play. But it does not matter. All of that last week does not matter. When it comes down to today's game and today's opponent, Tampa Bay, it's a team that's had our number over the past couple years, and we're going to go over that. But that starts today at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So let's get through this intro, and let's just jump right on into it, guys. So, when I tell you a team that's had our number over the past couple seasons, I'm not sugarcoating it. Tampa Bay, Todd Bowles, seems like they've relatively had a pretty good game plan when they play us. This kind of goes back all the way with Tom Brady, whenever he was the starting quarterback for Tampa Bay. I actually was at the home game in Philly, regular season, when they beat us 28-22. I was there, I watched it happen, and it was a shame. I remember the playoff loss. Jalen Hurts' first year as the starter for the Eagles. Wild card playoff loss. Go into Tampa against Tom Brady. We got blown out. Year of the collapse, 2023. Wild card round. We go to Tampa Bay. We end up getting blown out. The only game that we've won in recent years against Tampa was 2 years ago in the regular season. A.J. Brown had one hell of a game, and we ended up capitalizing that game late in the fourth quarter. But as you can see, they have our script. They know what the Eagles like to do, and they know how to attack Jalen Hurts in this offense. Last year's game was no better. We got blown out. Early in the season, went down to Tampa, the Heat. Players just looked sluggish. It was right before the bye week, before we got everything corrected. And granted, it was actually Jalen Hurts' last loss that he started and finished in the game was Tampa Bay. So it looks like history is trying to repeat itself, and it's going to be trying to happen today at 1 o'clock. But our birds cannot do one thing that they tried screwing up and pretty much tried giving the game away last week against the Rams. What they did last week, coming out and just looking flat, looking non-existent, they cannot do that against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, granted, Tampa Bay has some injury concerns that they're dealing with, yes. But Baker Mayfield is playing lights-out football right now. You know, I was actually watching NFL Network earlier in the week, and they were talking about currently, dating back to last season and starting of this season, the top two quarterbacks in the NFL right now in fourth quarter QBR and passer rating and touchdowns. Guess who the top two quarterbacks are, guys? Baker Mayfield and Jalen Hurts are number one and number two. Now, we already know on our list who number one is. No pun intended. But this is going to be, this got the makings to be a great game. Now, I was kind of looking, I don't really pay attention a lot to spreads of games. I'm not a big sports bettor. But I just wanted to kind of look at the spread on this game, and I wanted to look at the points total. Because the Eagles, ironically enough, the past 3 weeks, they've hit the spread and they've hit the points total. So I was just kind of wondering what they had the points total for this game, and it's a little over 45.5. It's going to be a tight game. Spread's 3.5. I think it's actually going to be quite tighter than that. I think this game is going to come down to within a field goal, personally. And it's going to come down to who has the ball last at the end of the game. Is it going to be Jalen Hurts, or is it going to be Baker Mayfield? Personally, I know the Eagles, Nick Sirianni had a couple strategies for earlier this week to kind of get the team prepared for that Tampa Bay heat. It's supposed to feel like 103 degrees today. It's going to be about 10-mile-an-hour winds. No rain, thankfully, but it's supposed to be a hot one. So it looks like the Eagles actually traveled down to Tampa Bay a day early, so they actually got there Friday. They wanted to try and get a day extra to acclimate to the heat, but we all saw Vic Fangio's press conference. It's not going to really do much. But I did see another interesting thing, that Nick Sirianni's actually having a lot of the players spend extra time in the sauna trying to prepare for this humid and this heat. I have a buddy that lives down in Florida, and he tells me all the time that the humidity down there is unreal. So I can only imagine how hot it's going to be. The only thing, though, that I don't agree with is that, the Eagles are doing all this preparation for this heat, but we decided to wear the green jerseys. Why didn't they just go all white? I didn't understand that because we know Tampa Bay's going to wear their red. Why didn't we wear all white? That would have at least minimized the sunlight or the heat index for the players wearing all white. But I mean, that's a very minor thing. I'm not going to sit on here for the next half hour and just kind of spit and spat over little things that aren't going to have anything to do with the game. But just saying, hey, I'm thinking of everything when it comes to my Birds, okay? I want them to go in and get this game. This is a really good opportunity for the Birds, guys. We're going into the fourth week of the season. Pretty much the first quarter of the year is going to be over when week 4 is wrapped up, essentially. And if the Eagles can somehow get through this with this tough part of the beginning part of the schedule that I've been talking about for the past 4 to 5 episodes on this podcast, if they are able to get through this 4-0, right? 3 wins in the NFC, 1 win in the division, and we're through the first quarter of the season, that's really, really good pacing for this season, guys. And it's going to look good. Now, granted, the schedule doesn't get any easier, but this game today is big. And this is kind of big for, just for this Eagles team this year. Granted, because Jalen Hurts has gotten the most heat, the most disrespect, the most non-love of a quarterback that I've ever witnessed in my life. And isn't warranted for it, doesn't deserve it, doesn't need the criticism either, but just keeps happening. This team is always under a microscope, right? But I'm starting to think that the Birds are just going to show what kind of team they are. We've got the best roster in football. Anybody can come on my channel and comment on my videos and tell me otherwise, but you tell me another team in football that has the best, hands down, top to bottom roster at every position, depth-wise as well. Tell me, because there isn't. The Eagles do come out, and they have these moments where they are playing like they're almost afraid to lose, which Jalen Hurts made those comments after last week that I can't fathom. The Eagles, Nick Sirianni takes a lot of pride in big plays and turnovers. If we're not turning over the ball, then we're not losing the game, right? But we need to start playing a little more loose. We got to get a little more aggressive. Now, Kevin Patullo, we all heard his press conference earlier in the week. It's nothing about aggressiveness. Well, Kevin, I'm not buying it. I'm not. If we're getting this from our players, and I'm sorry, but if Jalen Hurts is saying this, there's not many times where Jalen Hurts has said something out of turn, or out of pocket, I should say, that didn't line up with what was going on. So I'm going to listen to my quarterback, and I'm going to listen to the guy that's been leading this offense for the past 5 seasons. I don't have a problem with Kevin Patullo, but I just don't like whenever somebody comes out and says something that contradicts what somebody else says. And it's ridiculous. If you listen to A.J. Brown, you listen to Devontae Smith, and you listen to Jalen Hurts, that's what it is. It's this handcuffing play calling that, hey, well, let's just try and just establish the run. Let's dink and dunk this way, and let's just get through this game. That's bullshit. I'm sorry. We're not doing that. We've got the best team in football. We've got 2 all-pro wide receivers. We've got an all-pro tight end that just has some injury issues. We've got an all-pro running back. Great offensive line. This offensive line does a stellar job giving Jalen Hurts the time he needs in the pocket to make these plays. We just need a little more creativity and better play calling and execution. And that falls on you, Kevin. Now, granted, there's some times where the players aren't executing, and I will fully hold the players accountable. But this press conference show with this offense, and, well, we weren't really not playing aggressive, I can't hear that anymore. That doesn't make any sense because, Kevin, with what you were showing in the first half of that game as opposed to the second half, it's night and day. Granted, I know some things happened. Lane Johnson went out with a stinger, then decided for some reason, I don't know the mindset on this, deciding to put Matt Pryor in that Rams game instead of going right to Fred Johnson. Insane. That's a terrible call. That's just terrible. You traded for Fred Johnson about 3-4 weeks ago, so you can't say he wasn't in shape. He should have automatically been above Matt Pryor no matter what. But, just get Jalen Hurts killed on 2 back-to-back sack fumbles and getting hit just straight in his mouth until you decide, oh, maybe we should put Fred Johnson in, the hero that was last year as well. And, it's just sometimes I just feel like the Birds need to wake up sometimes. I mean, not the players, it's the coaching. I love Nick. Vic, I got no problems with Vic Fangio. Vic's been the one guy that's had his shit on tight this year. He's got the defense humming. Now obviously Nolan Smith going to the IR for 4 to 6 weeks. That's going to be kind of a little bit of a worrisome thing. But we could still see the Eagles maybe try and make a play, before the trade deadline. Maybe try and go for a pass rusher, go for a corner. There's been some little talks, but I'm not going to really get into it. I'm more worried about the games ahead besides moves that possibly could happen or might not happen. But this game's going to be a big one, guys. This is going to be another physical matchup. Tampa Bay's going to come out. They're going to try and establish the running game. And the Eagles, obviously we know if they go by their normal MO, they're going to come out and try and dink and dunk and run, which I hope they actually come out and get a little aggressive. That's what I would like to see. I said it last week. I wanted to see more RPO. I wanted to see some read option, some play action, and we actually started seeing it last week, I'm sorry. We got to see some pushing the ball down the field, in the middle of the field, on the outside. I mean, this is just common things that just frustrate me, but it could be worse, So I think this is going to be a good game, guys. I definitely am going with my Birds to win. My score prediction for this game, I'm thinking it's going to be 27-23 Birds. I'm actually going to go with a 4-point spread on this one. But yeah, I think the Eagles are going to capture this one today. I think we're going to go to 4-0. We got to play good football today. The defense is going to have to come out humming. Tampa Bay's got a couple injury concerns they're dealing with. Thankfully today, no Mike Evans. So it looks like Quinyon Mitchell is going to be going up against their young star rookie, Mbuka, from Ohio State. He's had a good start to the season, so that's going to be an interesting matchup to watch. I know they got Chris Godwin coming back today. They also have Tristan Wirfs coming back. They're all pro tackle. For us, we've got Lane Johnson. He's back today. He is playing with the stinger. Nolan Smith is out with the tricep. And I believe everybody else is going to be about ready to go. Actually, pardon me on that. Ja'Corian Bennett and Adoree Jackson both are out for this game as well. So it looks like Kelee Ringo is getting the nod, guys. So I'm going to be kind of watching that closely because I think Kelee Ringo is probably going to get matched up with Mbuka or Godwin at times. So that's going to be something I'm going to watch very closely. And pay attention today. Who gets more of the starting snaps at edge rusher over Nolan Smith since he's out with the injury today? Are we going to see more Zadarius Smith? Are we going to see more Josh Uche? Or are we going to see Ojulari getting activated from the practice squad and elevated into that role? We're going to have to find out. But please, like I always tell you guys, can you please drop in the comment section score predictions of this game? And even comment your favorite team. Something else you want me to talk about as well. But as long as we have this channel and as long as I go on here and I talk Eagles football, we're talking Eagles football. So I just want to wish everyone a wonderful rest of your start to your day. It's very early here. I know the apartment complex loves me early in the morning whenever I'm yelling and screaming. But get ready for this Birds game, guys. 1 p.m. Eastern time. This is going to be a heavyweight bout, guys. I always say it. It's going to be 12 rounds. It's going to be two physical teams, two physical defenses that are going to be going at each other. And it's just going to be about who wants it more, who's going to execute more, and who's going to make less mistakes. And we already know what team that's going to be, guys. But all right, everyone have a wonderful night, wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy game day football. Make sure you get your fantasy teams checked. Make sure you get your sports bets in. And always remember, when it comes to our Philadelphia Eagles, you will always get plenty with Kenny. And that's the Kenny G guarantee. Go Birds, baby. Woo!
He gon' shake the defenders, scramble out the pocket, touchdown, then hit the gritty. You know big play slate, lock 'em down all day. And by the way,